It's going live right now.
Oh, I think your microphone is mute.
Yes.
Right.
Praise God. We're live.
All right. Let me go ahead and just share that real quick.
All right. Praise the name of the Lord, everybody. Good. All right.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I
I missed something up here real quick.
This thing
This thing can be very fluid.
Are you going to take the link down?
Take it down?
Take it down? No.
Okay.
Just want to correct something real quick.
Set this
whole thing up last night and
looks
like
this
display just overnight. Okay.
That's what
I was looking for.
Should have
left this thing on last night.
All right. Let me do this one too. Right.
This is better off now. We can start off.
Well.
Dr. Gago, it's a delight and an honor to
have you.
Thank you.
In the fight for our great land. Nigeria deserves to be fought for.
And
That's correct.
The times that we are living calls for very calculated and educated citizenry
to be able to
engage
and give
Nigeria
the best
chance to succeed.
Thank
you very much for being a part of this, and
we
welcome everybody that is joining us online.
Welcome
everybody.
This is Pastor
James Abraham
hosting
today. Dr. Bullus Gago, both of us live in Los Angeles County.
Amen.
Can
you please
say welcome to the people before we
go ahead
with whatever we have to discuss today?
Sure. So, first of all, thank you so much, Pastor Abraham, for having me here. You would be the very few pastors I know that have a very serious passion for Nigeria. It is one thing to talk about it, and it's another thing to do something about it. So thank you so much for having me. And I do pray that our discussion, does shed light on the problems and the solutions and whatever direction God wants us to have. My name is, like Pastor said, Dr. Bullus Gago. My passion has been Nigeria. I was born in Yobe State. That's north. That's core north, and I am a Christian. So those are two things that people don't think are synonymous, but it does exist, and I am one of many, so to say. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much.
I am Pastor James Abraham. I'm from Edo State.
I'm a
pastor here in Azusa, California.
By the grace
By the grace of God, we've come to know Dr. Gago for a while now. Especially, I knew his father first, then through that liaison and friendship, I got to know Dr. Bullus Gago too. And over the past few months and years,
through
just cross-posting items online, we've come to discover that we share very common and passionate interest
to see
that the aspirations of Nigerians
and the
hope
for
for Nigeria to be truly great
and become
and
the
become the
giant
of Africa and beyond
is
is achieved.
So
Right.
today,
as we host this special program,
I truly
hope that everyone participating
and that
will be with us live
and also
view this webcast
later
on
will be able
to
to
glean
and gain
and
insight and see the need why we truly have to mobilize both Nigerian youths and the Nigerians in diaspora. For me in particular, I will say the more I love the United States because of the environment it has created for me, a foreigner. Listen to this. I feel treated better and have a better prospect in a foreign land than my own country. That is not supposed to be how it should be.
Right.
And the more I come to love the United States, the more I come to also love Nigeria, knowing that something great and better can come out of Nigeria. That is where my passion for Nigeria eventually began to spring up. If not, I would have said, hey, I throw up my hands and let what be. So, Pastor Gago or Dr. Gago, please, I'd like for you to give an opening statement. Then we'll begin to get into the details and the meat of our discussion this morning. And for those in Nigeria, let me quickly acknowledge that I think it's about 7 p.m. in Nigeria right now. We appreciate you and thank you for being a part of this webcast. Let me quickly put up that information, the slide again. I think you'll be able to get some information, and the phone number there at the lower right. You can contact us there and through our social media pages also. So, Pastor Gago.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I do understand we'll be going into questions in a second or just a discussion. But if I am to give an opening statement, I like how you stated where your passion came from. My passion, although I grew up in various other places outside of Nigeria for me had always been a passion since I could remember when. And it is when only I started to read about our pasts. I've read so many books about our pasts as a people, and I started to read the influence of the colonials on us as a people and see that what Nigeria is today is still a legacy of the colonials. So there is nothing in Nigeria right now, the political system that is running right now, that is reminiscent of us as a people. And one of the things that is starting to drive my passion, to be honest with you, is the very rhetoric I'm hearing those that came before me. Every time you talk to an older person, they love to tell you how complicated Nigeria is. They love to tell you how impossible it is. I'm starting to hear individuals say how there is no Nigeria in the future and Nigeria needs to die. And then as a Christian, the very first question I ask myself is, where do we put 200 million people? Where are we all supposed to leave the country? And while the rich are fleeing and the about 60% of the country is under the age of 30 years old, where are we to go? Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And so as a Christian, I cannot read my Bible and see the imperative and the responsibility to do something about an oppressive situation. The whole rhetoric about let's leave it to God does not work here. That is not even scriptural at all.
No.
Because there is no country ever, even in the Bible, that was saved because individuals sat there and said, God will just do it himself. God always used individuals, humans, and he just needed available individuals and he used them. So that is where my passion comes from. It comes from the very core of my Christianity. I cannot see myself as a Christian without doing something about it. And so that's where my passion comes from.
For me, it is now like in Nehemiah call.
And one of the things that we really want to accomplish through this webcast today is to give hope and inspiration to Nigerians everywhere, in particular Nigerians in diaspora. You have a responsibility and a duty to give back. If you're living in any Western nation, you always hear that statement, give back, or that phrase, give back, give back. We who are in diaspora, I think we have a responsibility both to inspire, coordinate, mobilize Nigerians at our home and be a voice for them also, so that we can have a place we can go back to and truly call home. So Pastor Gago, let's get into the questions or some of the issues that we like to discuss today. We're going to be talking about accountability, leadership, the politics and the policy and the security situation in Nigeria and the way forward. There is hope. There is hope. They said those who make a peaceful change impossible, make violent change inevitable. We don't want to get there yet. I don't think we are getting there yet. We just need to address the need on ground right now so that Nigeria can go forward. But if I may begin asking Dr. Gago, when do you think or believe that the problem in Nigeria began? Why is there a problem in governing Nigeria in the way to benefit everybody that is within that entity? Where does the problem begin?
Pastor, that's an amazing question. You see, it depends on who you ask, right? There are individuals right now in the country that when you ask them the question of where do we solve the problem, and this is what government usually sells the people. Oh, we just need to fix electricity. Oh, we just need to fix the roads. Oh, we just need to fix this or give you guys a new local government or no. Any person that thinks that those temporal changes are what's going to help Nigeria doesn't really understand the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria began the first day they made us Nigeria.
Wow.
The reason why they made us Nigeria is the problem why we are still facing today. In 1914, when the colonials came, when they amalgamated us, the three zones that they divided into one nation, you're going to have to ask the question, why did they make us one nation to begin with? That is the question. Why did we become Nigeria? What was the reason? Because before they came, there was no Nigeria. You found that the East had no central government. You find that the West had their own type of government. You look up, you see the Sokoto Caliphate. And so you understood that everybody was kind of doing their thing, even though we did interact at a certain level. But then they found out that if they're able to make us one nation, there will be an efficiency to their plans. What was the plans of the colonials? To oppress the people for the sake of receiving the resources that they had. If they could oppress us efficiently, they can take resources efficiently. That is why Nigeria exists. The colonials did not have us on their mind to benefit us, to make us more modern. No. The colonials wanted to bring us down so that as we cannot rise up, they got to take the property. What happened in 1960? When our nationalists started to fight for independence before 1960, and 1960 independence came and they left, the colonials left. All they did was remove themselves out of the equation of governing, and then they put nationalists in their place. What does that mean? That means the reason why they made Nigeria still exists till today. And what is that reason? To oppress the people, to take their resources.
Oppress the people and take the resources.
That is why Nigeria existed in 1914. It was to oppress the people,
interest of the colonials.
Exactly. And the nationalists, the job of the nationalists was to become managers of our resources to ship it out of the country. This is why Buhari is doing exactly what the system is supposed to do. Take more loans, depend on external aid, and to oppress the people to benefit themselves. So when people say, oh, all we need is good governance, well, there's elements to that, but it's deeper than that. Because if you were to raise Angel Gabriel in Nigerian's political system right now. Angel Gabriel has to become corrupt before the system works. Why? Because the system itself requires these kinds of governments we have. So what does that mean? That means that the problem of Nigeria is, when we say we need to restructure, it's way more than restructuring. We honestly need to go back into the core of
The why.
why we exist. And we need to come up with a new reason why we need to exist as a country.
Not the reason that was transferred to us by the colonial,
because that
served their interest, that served their purpose, not the people.
Not the people. The people were never the focus of the constitutions that were written from then to now, up to the Fourth Republic that we're in right now. The system had never had us in mind. The system is who gets the resources and who benefits from it, as long as the West is benefiting from it. So the problem is this. Since 1960, what has been the problem of Africa, Nigeria, let me say? The problem is who gets power, because whoever gets power
gets to decide
is the person that gets to run the resources and gets benefits from the West. That's just it. This is why all regions want power. And the problem with the North having this hegemony is, if you look back to the colonials, who were the people the colonials used as to do their indirect rule? By using a small Fulani tribe to rule the whole of the place. Who was it? It was the people from the north. So it was the colonials that put people in place that were not legitimately the leaders, and therefore they left them there, and these people still believe they own Nigeria. Why? Because the colonials started something and did not fix it. So if we're going to fix Nigeria, it is very simple. All these things I'm hearing on the news, people telling me Nigerian problem is too hard. Listen, there's a starting point. The starting point is we need to redefine why we exist as a people.
That is the major desire that everybody should be clamoring for. It is not enough for some foreigners and colonial masters to decide what they want for this nation of that nation. And the indigenous, the citizens have no say in the direction or the why. If that is not the answer, the agitation will continue, and there will be no reason for those who are benefiting from the corrupt or the biased system right now to want to change because it is benefiting them.
Yeah, literally, Pastor. And you see, the problem is they do not want to redefine what Nigeria is, because right now, whoever is in power gets to hold the rest of the country, right? But this also raises a new problem, because you see, right now, if you think about what is everybody almost outside of the North crying for in Nigeria right now, everybody wants their own Nigeria, their own country. Let's just separate. That tells you why we need a reasoning to exist. Because everybody wants out. Why? Because there's nothing holding us together. There's no reasoning that holds us together. Look at what makes the United States the United States. They have a reason why they exist.
Common interest. Every part of the nation has a common shared interest in democracy. Everybody is fighting for.
It's capitalism. It's being the light of the world. It's being this freedom of
democracy and liberty.
That's it. That is why Americans are so proud of who they are. Look at every succeeding country. They know why they exist. They have a common goal. We don't. We have more in common within our tribes than us as Nigerians. How can we live together?
That is why the question of the why now has to be answered in order to truly make the interest of everybody together at the federal level. If those interests of the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausas, and the Fulanis are not defined and made for us to truly become a federal place, whereby those interests individually they are satisfied, this problem will continue.
So I can almost hear somebody asking the question, then how do we get the government to do that? That is where the problem is. The problem is that we're looking to the government to do that. They're not going to do that.
Dr. Gago, that was the next direction I was going to ask about. Because a corrupt government leaders like it is in Nigeria today, they are only serving their interest and the interest of their connected and corrupt cronies.
Yeah.
They don't think about meeting the need and the aspirations of their people. That is not their goal. It is the people who will have to call for this change. One of the things that really amazes me about Nigerians is that they are very passive when it comes to dealing with their government. They are very laid back, just hoping and praying, in particular Southerners. The time to keep on hoping and just wish that God will do something without the people rising up to speak up and agitate for their aspirations has come. And without that, there is going to be no change. No government, especially a corrupt one, will just volunteer to become accountable. No, it doesn't happen that way. The people, that's why we are talking about mobilizing Nigerian youths in diaspora. We cannot continue to just pray and wish. No, we have to demand a change. We have to make the leaders uncomfortable to some extent for them to realize that they have to make change. See, Dr. Gago, I'm sure you noticed this. In the United States here, they've made greater change towards accommodating different sectors like black, white, and Hispanics and all that than Nigeria has done. It's over 60 years now since independence. It doesn't have to take this long. And guess what? Another thing that is more stunning? This is not white people doing this to us now. Are you getting it? It is our so-called leaders who are at the top that are allowing themselves to be used by the former colonial masters to still perpetuate the situation in Nigeria, which is not supposed to be. We have to be able to change. Our leaders need to get to that point, but they are not going to get to that point until the youth, the diaspora begin to speak up and say there need to be a change. Dr. Gago, go ahead.
Yes. So in psychology, especially in the psychology of religion, one of the things that you're describing is called fatalism. And fatalism works where when the oppression is to the point where people have internalized it, they turn to a religious sense of understanding their problems. And what they do is that term of God will solve the problem really comes from this moral giving up. They have given up in themselves because right now you don't find a difference between our government and what the colonials did. And what they did was, you see, the way the colonials emphasized everything they wanted was through violence, through police, through military soldiers. They always dominated by killing individuals. So what is the natural response? Fatalism. Only God can save us. Why? Because we don't want to die. This is the problem with that understanding. By making it God's responsibility to do the human responsibility, you wait for many years to get solved. Now, the problem, though, is, Pastor, we have internalized. Oh, sorry.
Yes, I need you to repeat something you just said about that. Fatalism and making our responsibility God's responsibility. Nigerians need to wake up.
Yeah, they do, but that's the problem, Pastor. That waking up part is going to be the hardest thing, not changing the government. The changing government is not hard because if the people woke up, then they will change. The hardest part is waking people up because the problem is they have internalized the oppression. They don't see the value of their existence greater than
the wishes of the leaders.
Exactly. Why? Because to them, being alive under oppression is worth it than to die. They don't see that dying free is more worth than living under oppression. We don't see it that way.
Like a so-called syndrome.
Exactly. So we don't see that it is more beneficial to die a free person than to live under oppression, because you never lived. Where we need to change the narrative is by changing people's consciousness. Before, we have to wake people up to the realization of what Nigeria could be if they were awake. Because, like you said, the government is not going to hand Nigeria to us. And with this new generation, if I'm talking to young people, I like to bring to their attention that we are the offsprings of the previous generation. The last generation and us are one of the first generations in history, Pastor. If you read the narrative, you will see that this is true to a certain level. My parents' generation and our generation, and a little of the parents of my parents. So you could say in the last 60 years, any child that was born after 1960, you can tell that we are the first generation that actually have this thinking process that power is actually handed. We actually have this thing in our head where in an African context, we actually think that you wait for your turn.
Now, Dr. Gago, I need you to re-emphasize because that's part of what we are doing. Power is never handed.
Power is not handed.
The people rise up.
Power is taken.
Give it to us. It will not be given to you.
No, power is never given. No, power is literally earned. You have to take power. And this is why we need to learn from those that are actually running Nigeria. This is one thing they got right. They ran Nigeria by the age of 26, 27, 28. Buhari was around 33 when he became the head of state, if I'm not mistaken, or at latest 38. People don't realize that they had to fight to take power. The nationalists, people that fought for Nigeria, look at any country. Look at the strength of the grassroots movements. So they were young people that were not handed power in Africa. They took power. Did people die in the process? Absolutely. But that's the price that you pay for taking power. So this generation that is still in power are people that just realized that when Buhari called my generation lazy, he knew what he was talking about. What he was not saying is that we didn't like working. We didn't like to fight for anything. Why? We'd rather be alive under oppression than to die free people. While what Buhari is literally saying is we were willing to die to take freedom from the colonials. You people want us to hand power. Keep waiting. That's literally the message.
What they're saying.
That is the message.
And that is not going to happen. So the call to all Nigerians at home and abroad, in diaspora in particular, and a special call also to our young Nigerian lawyers. Rise up. You got to join this race, educate the people, mobilize the people. If not, the future of Nigeria, the hopes will be prolonged. Not because God has not given us the resources today to be all that we can be. No. It is because we have people whose interests today at the top, their interests are different from those they're leading. So I want to bring in something else. We partially address this while you were talking about the conscience, re-educating the conscience of the people. I strongly believe that the Nigerians, in particular those at home, they are really afraid of the government, and even to the extent of being subservient to those who they elected. Their mind need to be educated to understand that no, those you elect, you are actually entrusting them with the sacred trust to do something for you, to serve your interest. And as long as they are no longer serving your interest, fellow Nigerians, withdraw your support from such government. They have no more right to lead you. Now, this is something else that I observe about Nigerian politicians. They are like prostitutes. In my opinion, I'm sorry to use that word. They have no core principles. Nothing that is Nigerian leaders today. You see people switching party at the whiff. in nanoseconds, because they are now seeing where their bread is going to be buttered better, not to serve the interest of the people. So personally for me, I want to call every Nigerian, all Nigerians, at home and abroad, refuse to give your total support and allegiance to politicians. Once they are no longer serving your interest, switch before they can say their name. Switch, because if politicians know that no matter what you're going to be there to support them, they have no desire to serve your interest, because you are always there for them. Dr. Gago?
You know, okay, so I could hear a Nigerian in my ear, like, just say something to this effect. Well, they will say something to the effect of, well, it's easy for you to say, we don't need to vote. Nigerians government will always put themselves in place. Elections are always rigged, whether we support or not. If we don't support, we risk the chance of not eating. And if we support, of course, they'll oppress us, but maybe if we can win their favor, they can help us, you know. And so in Nigeria, this prebendal, this clientele type of government system is, I need to submit myself to the government so that the government can take care of me and my family. That's the ideology. But one of the things that when I talk about re-educating and a new consciousness, Pastor, what I'm actually trying to tell young people is this. I really need Nigerians to understand this, that there is no hope in this political system. The way the government is ran, look, Pastor, if we look at the history and follow the voting patterns and those that are elected into government, we did not vote for them. Every election, even the one they said in 2015 that was the most fair election, there's never been a fair election in Nigeria. Let's just cut that straight. Some of us that actually understand the inside workings and are from the north or have access to talking to people know that every single president was put there by not the people, but by corruption. We all know that. So there is nothing that we're going to do electorally that is going to put a president that we want. Let's just get that out the way.
Until some change takes place.
This is why I'm trying to tell the people we need a new reason for why we exist. And this is why. And I'll explain what I'm going to say, because somebody would bring up this idea of, well, we tried that before, but we did not. And let me explain it. What we need in Nigeria is a political party that understands how to organize. That's what we need the most. Not a person. We need a party that understands the consciousness of the people and stands for the people. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm not talking about some of these young politicians we saw in the last election that really, when you really look at it, they wanted to just rise within the same political system and make the same changes and steal money the same way. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need a party that understands the consciousness of the people and runs on the notion that they have to bring this current political system down to start a new one. What the people need to rally around is a new party that wants to tear down the system to start a whole brand new one. In other words, you're talking about a political party that starts a revolution. And somebody would say, well, we tried to unite under NSAR's movement. The reason why, the day NSAR started, I remember looking at my wife the same day after I studied NSAR's movement, and I looked at my wife and I said, if this thing lasts for more than 2 days, then I don't know what I'm doing. In other words, what I was talking about was all that marching and all of that. NSAR's was a group of people that were disgruntled and angry about a situation, but did not rise out of a conviction. People that rise out of conviction.
Say that again. And that is what is a conviction that we have an inherent interest, a right.
And SARS literally started because people were angry, not a conviction. A conviction is where there were people that were ready to die. And what I'm really talking about, to be honest with you, are the leaders that led NSAR's movement. When I saw the leaders that were leading NSAR's movement, I said, no, these people are not ready to die for nothing. They just like the spotlight. They were just angry. They were not convicted. Because if they were convicted, they should still be talking now and at worst from their graves. Why? Because you got to understand this. Before a movement can move, it has to be very well organized from ground roots. What I was hearing on the news was that people that were leading NSAS were bragging that they were leaderless. No politician was a part of them. Everybody can be a part of it. They didn't have a centralized message. They were just Nigerians that were angry and ready to move. That was failure. That's not how you move.
Just two things you just pick from that movement that need to be reorganized or built upon. Leaderless and
aimless. There was no central goal.
If those two things are not there, it will certainly fade. There need to be to some extent. It shows that Nigerians can rise. But the next step is that there need to be a conviction of what the government is supposed to be and do for the people. Conviction about how our situation as a nation is far from what is supposed to be. Let me ask you something. I'm gonna have you. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Maybe you'll come back to it. But I wanted to even add on what you just said.
Go ahead.
This guy, nobody likes him, even myself. But the president of Kaduna, El Rufai, said something that made sense. He said that all we youth are aiming to get the same voters they are going for. El Rufai said if we youths can understand that there is about 200 million Nigerians, and if we can stop trying to aim for the elite class to vote for us and get the ground root, the other 200 million that no one is talking about, to end up coming on our side. He says we can end up taking Nigeria overnight.
Wow.
People don't understand this. We are aiming at the same political nonsense, not understanding that if we can get the majority of Nigerians, is not votes, to become convicted that it is time to turn Nigeria upside down.
A strong consciousness for something that needs to be done better and greater. Dr. Gago, I want to say something here. When you look at the health system, the educational system, the road system, Nigeria, I will actually submit, is functioning at a pre-independence level compared to what it is today. You see some classrooms. I mean, some hospitals, some roads. You like, this is not white people doing this to us. These are our own leaders we voted for. So, the people are just sitting down there, and they don't say anything, they don't speak up. They are so complacent. It got to change. Dr. Gago. How do we address there is something else I want to bring up before we go to the next part of this discussion with regards to the future of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Right now, one of the most thorny issues is the call for separation. We are not agitating for that right now. And when Nigerians call for separation, they classify Nigerians into three groups.
Yeah.
The West, the East, the North. And they group the whole North together. But in my understanding, when you look deeper into the northern region, it is not as people easily just look at it and say from the outside. I think there is a division between the Hausas and the Fulanis. And the Fulanis have positioned themselves to basically use all the other tribes to do whatever they desire. They are ready to spend money and blood to get people to others to do what they want. That is part of the mistake that I think a lot of Nigerians especially the southern Nigerian people are making by just grouping the whole northerners in one group because I think the northern Hausas are suffering as much the way we are right now. Can you please address this?
I would love to. Thank you for bringing that up. There's nothing more annoying than when I'm talking to another Nigerian that is not from the north, and groups all of us in the north as though we are one monolithic people that is the problem of Nigeria. There's nothing more regressive than people saying that the problem of Nigeria is the North. Look at the demographics in the North. Most of that, we're looking at demographics in the North. One woman has about 7 children. Majority of the North of Nigeria is children. They're not your problem. Children are not your problem. The demographics of Nigeria, a good amount are Christians that are being killed on a daily basis. The demographics of the North is also there are a group of Muslims, as I'm talking to you, that do not subscribe to this nonsense that we see that people are saying is Islam. If you read the Quran for yourself, which I have, you find out that there are verses that make it look like Allah is the genesis of both Christianity and Islam. And the Quran specifically states that you cannot use coercion in terms of trying to bring people to the religion. And so you find out that there's a group of Muslims that refuse to buy into this rhetoric of terrorism. Then you end up finding that there is only a minority group in the North that is controlling and creating this much problems for everybody else in the country. That is what our problem is. And so the problem that we're having in Nigeria is we refuse to put a name to our problem. We just want to make a whole ethnic group the problem. And on top of that, there's nothing more annoying than calling me a kare man, a Hausa. I'm not Hausa. Wow. I am from the North. I speak Hausa, but I am kare. We are not monolithic Hausa. There's nothing more annoying than putting us in category. You Hausa Fulani people. When did you see Fulani in my blood?
Wow.
When?
See,
that is
a grave characterization that I think need to be defined and really understood because in my opinion right now, yes, the most of the leaders are from the North. They are not serving the interest of the so-called Northerners. They are serving their own interest. I want to really emphasize this. The Nigerian political leaders today, they are not serving the interest of Nigerians. They are serving only themselves and they are corrupt and connected cronies only. Now, I want us as we go forward. The next aspect I want us to talk about, Dr. Gago, except if you have another comment.
No, you can keep going.
The next one I want us to talk about is how we choose leaders. Okay. One of the most painful experience for me with regards to Buhari. People say Buhari is stupid or he doesn't know what he's doing. No, Buhari is not stupid. What is going on right now is exactly what he wants. And secondly, how do we help Nigerians to educate them to know how to choose leaders? We've been seeing Buhari in the past few years going on the medical talk. This man is a sick person. He doesn't have the stamina nor the intelligence, academically speaking, or visionary speaking, to articulate the wishes and the hopes of Nigeria. We are in the process now of electing another leader. From what we are seeing, some guy from West is looking like who's going to be running. And this man is sick. He's going to follow the pattern of Buhari and be running medical talks to UK and all the others. Dr. Gago, let's address the issue of leadership, the selection of leaders, the choice of leaders. We cannot afford to keep on voting in people who cannot articulate the vision and the hopes of their people. Now, I must tell Nigerians, if you have not watched any video of Dr. Akufo, the Ghana president, you need to go watch some of the things that man is saying and how he is articulating the vision for Ghana and for the prosperity and greatness of Ghana. We don't have such leaders in Nigeria. I can't remember when I look at even Obasanjo, maybe I'll give him a little good luck. I think good luck was surrounded by too many crocodiles and lions that he didn't really have his way. And when you look at the crops of Nigerians we've been having since independence. Nobody talks about the greatness of Nigeria. Nobody talks about the advancement of Nigeria. Nobody talks about how they can lift Nigeria to the next level. And Nigerians keep on hoping. Nigerians on individual level, we are doing far better to lift Nigeria up than the government is actually doing. Dr. Gago, how do we address this issue of getting the right leaders for Nigeria?
So I'm going to reiterate a point I made earlier. Now, Pastor, you said something about people think Buhari is stupid. Let me say something that might shock a lot of people. Remember, I said something about the political system in Nigeria being created by colonials. Buhari is a child of the colonials. Buhari has mastered Nigerian politics to its. Buhari is the epitome of the smartest this political system can breed. In fact, I don't think anyone else can be as smart as Buhari in Nigeria like we're seeing right now. What am I telling you? Our political system is so corrupt and broken and damaged that the only way to walk in it is when you are like Buhari. In fact, the reason why people did not like Goodluck Jonathan, Obasanjo tried, is because they were not as corrupt as Buhari. Buhari is he's the most efficient corrupt person in the current political. He's not stupid. This is how he can put Fulanis in every government position. People from the north in every government position. And all the rest of us Nigerians can do is just complain. We can't do anything about it. We can't impeach him. We can't talk negative about him or he will end Twitter. We can't do anything. So what am I trying to tell you? I go back to the point I made earlier. There is no fixing Nigeria within this political system. We cannot vote someone else to come fix Nigeria in this political system. There's no solution but a revolution. There isn't. There literally has to be a turning over where we rewrite the constitution, where we rewrite what we are as Nigerians. Because as long as this current system is there, we are going to only have to vote for what APC and PDP give us. So unfortunately, in 2023, because I can't see a revolution or an organized party yet, I can't see one. I don't see one as I'm talking to you. Because there isn't, I promise you, in 2023, we're going to vote in another sick person that is old, that does not even know where the remote control is in his house right now.
That doesn't know how to use Twitter or Instagram or anything.
That doesn't even know who the owner of Facebook is. They're going to become president. I guarantee you. Unless there is a revolution or a political party that is agitating for the rewriting of the constitution and the people gang up behind them, I'm sorry, we're going to end up voting in another nonsense person. And the reason why is, the problem is that the reason why we exist and our political system is created for corruption and not for the people. Unless we change that and restructure the country, we will be voting in nonsense. And let me lend something to this, Pastor. I really need people to understand this. I forgot his name, but a very prominent Nigeria went on television and told in the entire Nigeria on TV, and got reprimanded the next day, and the newscasters got suspended or they got arrested the next day. Newscasters for interviewing the person.
For hosting the guy.
For hosting the guy. I believe it was Daily Rise or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. He told us that the Nigerian government has already imported individuals for the massacring of Nigerians, and there's a religious political agenda that is behind the scene. He's already told us, but Pastor, you don't see any agitation. You don't. Nigerian government has told us that they're ready to slaughter people, and we're not agitating. We're not, because we don't want them to slaughter us. But the slaughter is not dependent on if we rise or not. They're just waiting for the time to come out of the woodworks and religiously slaughter all of us. And what we're agitating for is, let us separate. You got to understand, why are these northerners or these individuals not even speaking right now? Why is it that they're quiet, just waiting for the moment to come and start slaughtering people? Because we got to understand that Nigeria exists for economics. Who gets the resources? They want to be the sole proprietors of all the oil and resources of Nigeria. So when you're talking about separation, you're taking resources away from them. So when you say separation, what northern people hear is genocide.
Wow.
When I say North, I'm talking about that minority.
And you know what is funny about what you just said right now? The Southerners, they are not prepared for the really hard work. They are not.
Also, it's all of us. Even the North, we're not.
When people are talking about separation, they don't know that it involves arms. The Southerners have no culture of dealing with working with arms right now. If you're going to be calling for separation, you better be ready for battle.
You have to get your weapons.
You got to be ready.
It's a battle. It's not. No person is going to see as they're standing there. Nigeria is separate. This is exactly the civil war happening all over again. Why? Because there is no way you're going to, the elected leaders, as we're looking at them now, those that are in the place of government, none of them who have resources in every part of the country, who have sold the countries to the Chinese, to the Western world, have taken so much loan, is going to sit there and say, let the East go, let the West go, let the North go. Where? Go where? Before this separation happens, the quiet people, it is genocide. This is why I tell Nigerians, we have more to lose separated than when we are together. I understand that it is easier to run from the problem, and a lot of people think the North is the problem. And I just explained how the North is not your problem. Your problem is the politicians that have brought and sold Nigeria.
Dr. Gago, if we separate right now, the people, if there is no change and we separate, the people who will head the new units will still carry on with the culture that is affecting the whole Nigeria right now. And that is not going to augur well for anybody, nor accomplish the aspirations and hope of Nigerians.
Pastor, imagine this. Somebody would say, no, we will have border security. Listen, Fulani herdmen will still be Fulani herdmen. This time, there's not AK. They are going to come to your gate with tanks. Because now you're a new country. So the northern hegemony will give these Boko Haram people tanks to go blast your gates. We're not thinking about this, that we have more to lose separated than together. Because when we separate into different countries, you cannot declare war against another place because it's not your country. And if you know anything about these godless individuals that are at the place of power, they don't care who dies.
As long as they are accomplishing their goals, they can expend any number of lives.
Pastor, there's a group of people that are these terrorists that rather see everybody die than to see Nigeria taken from them. I'm just telling those that want to agitate for separation that it is genocide like you have never seen before. Somebody will say, let it happen. Trust me. Go read your word and say the civil war. It's not worth it. We're still recuperating from civil war. As I'm talking about
Nigeria as right now, especially the Southerners, they are not ready for the battle of separation. It's an aspiration. They are saying something because they are the way to truly meet that need. We have a system that could work. That's the federal system could work if we truly have leaders who are visionary, leaders who care about the aspiration of the people they are serving, and call for a change and demand for a change. And like we've been saying in this program today, that demand for change is not going to just be handed down. All the change be handed down. The people must rise. The people must rise and take things into their own hands.
We have to, Pastor. There is no substitution. I mean, we tried with the NSAS movement. I could tell you that we tried, but I could also tell you that what we're really missing is a seriously organized movement. That when they've killed a leader, the next person steps up until it's done. And that's follow history, follow Latin America. That's exactly how it happened. Dr. Luther King. That happened. I mean, South Africa, that happened. I mean, look at every country that was able to fight ever. You know that Nigeria is one of the only countries that never fought off the colonial legacy. We're the only ones. Mm-hmm. In fact, when you read the books of the nationalists, they were praising the colonialists. We're the first giant of Africa, or really the first never to fight off for our freedom the right way. And so we've never had a revolution, to be honest with you. And so because of that, this is the time. Because unless we do it, 2023, we're going to also vote in another useless person. You and I are going to have this same podcast in 2024. We're going to have it again in 2026, 2020, whatever. Because unless the people, we rise. And I do understand that rising means changing consciousness. And people like myself, we know that that is what God has called us to do. To start creating organizations and to actually be on ground, to actually start creating consciousness as a well-organized individual. That is my calling. I understand.
Mobilizing people.
And be mobilizing.
Because
that is what I am working on now.
That is the way forward. And if Nigeria is going to truly, Nigeria need to come up. Nigeria need to come up greater and better. Once again, I want to thank everybody that has been a part of this, and for those of you who are watching it live and will watch it hereafter. This is a call for every Nigerian, the youths and the Nigerians in diaspora. It is time to rise up and let's coordinate and mobilize. And let us get to the point of recognizing that the changes that we are seeking for, the accountability that we are asking for, and wants to see in our nation, it's not going to be handed to us just like that. No,
it can't.
It is not going to be handed over to us. One of the greatest poverty in Nigeria, if not the whole of Africa, is the poverty of leadership. They said when the leadership is wrong, everything else is wrong.
Everything.
When the head is sick, the whole body is sick. This is why Nigerian people must begin to wake up to the realization that we all own Nigeria. It is ours. It doesn't belong to them. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us, and we have a say. And in particular, my message to the Southerners, in particular the Christians, we've prayed enough. It is time to rise up and mobilize. It is time to rise up and be engaged. Pastors, get up. It is not out of place for believers to be involved in politics. In short, if there is one biggest problem, one of the reasons why we are having this political problem in Nigeria is because even in America today, it's because believers have ceded their place and pull back. We must not allow that to continue. Pastors, put your differences aside and agitate for one call. While I'm on this, I want to bring cities. If you go to Google Books, I like people to go look for the clergy of the revolution. The clergy of the revolution in America here.
Yeah.
See, there's one common statement here that in America we use all men are born equal or created equal, and everybody under the law. That was the call of the church during the revolution. And it made its way into the political discourse.
Yeah.
They were saying we are not inferior to the king or the queen of England. We are all created equal. They began to agitate. Nigerians must get to the point. That call came from the pulpit. So Nigerian pastors, we got to rise up and begin to, because there are some things we need to pray about. There are things we don't need to pray about.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Gago.
No, Pastor, I wanted that topic you brought up is very interesting because, you see, I've been talking to a lot of pastors in Nigeria trying to understand why there's a level of silence. And I'm starting to notice that a lot of pastors are actually all looking up to that 5 major pastors in Nigeria, the head of Redeem, the head of Winners Chapel. They're all looking at them and saying they need to talk and mobilize the rest of us. And I think that's a joke.
That's a joke.
But I want to say this. If you look into history, the most successive revolutions in countries that ever worked were always led by the church. Always. And I've been talking to a lot of pastors. I've been talking to them about, hey, are we going to revolt? Are we doing? Then pastors will tell me to my face that it is our job to preach the gospel and the government to change government. And I've come to realize that a lot of people are reading a different Bible than I am. Because if the gospel of Jesus Christ is supposed to bring down the kingdom of God upon this earth, then the rulership of God needs to be brought down. And what does that mean? Justice. A Christian cannot call themselves Christian if they cannot fight for justice.
At all.
Because what Christ has done was bring justice. You cannot call yourself equal without that which Christ has done and made all people, Gentiles and Hebrews, all the same. There's neither Greek nor Hebrew, male or female, the Bible talks about. Justice is what Christ brought about. And so what does this mean? And this is one of the reasons why I think Nigeria is ripe for revolution, because we are already religious in nature. All we need to find is the cause that we can believe that God actually wants us to have our country. God did not create us to be oppressed in Nigeria. The way Nigeria is right now is not the will of God. Just because we're very religious. And you know, there's something wrong with our religion too, because it's not just Christianity that is very religious. Muslims too are very religious. That means why we are religious is not because of God's revelation. It is because our religion is helping us with our poverty. It has say that again. Religion in Africa, in Nigeria, is just a coping mechanism. It just helps us cope with our problems. It is not revelation. This is why the BBC said in 2009 that we were the most religious people in the world. Why? Why are we the most religious? Because we have fatalism. We're using religion to try to solve our hunger instead of solving the problem by using our God-given right to win back the government. That is our problem. So if we're going to have a movement, we need to realize that God is calling us to win our country back, because that is his will. That is the will of God. Now, the question that I brought up earlier, and I don't want to forget this, is the idea of, I said we need a new reason to exist. We have a reason. Look at what God is doing with every Nigerian in the diaspora right now. Nigerians are the most educated minority groups in America. Nigerians, as I'm talking to you, look at the son of the director of the WTO, World Trade Organization, one of the first persons to do this major surgery around the world. Look at that young Nigerian that was now developing drones all over the world. Look at how, if you see what Nigerians are doing outside of the country, what is God trying to do with us? Why should we unite and say we're going to stay together to develop and become the greatest nation in the world? Because it is obvious that God is using us in a great way, and we are starting to lead technology and medical and religious organizations. We're doing it better than any country in the entire world. Imagine if we can concentrate on our country. We do not just become the greatest nation amongst Black people. We become the greatest nation amongst every human that ever existed. But you know, the problem is, as of the 1970s, Pastor, as of the 1970s, about 70 years ago, there were still articles being released about us African people that shows scientifically, according to them, that the brains of Black people was equivalent to the primordial cortex of a lizard. And you know what they were saying that? They said that a Black person, all they knew was sex, all they knew was war and violence, and all they were born to do was to be laborers. If we as Nigerians in the 21st century are still talking about that the best solution is for us to either kill each other or separate, how are we proving them wrong? While Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are sending people to space, and you can pay like taxi, we were still trying to discover how to live in peace with our neighbor,
with each other.
In the 21st century. How are they wrong? How are we able to prove them wrong?
And this is why the problem with Nigerian leaders, if you really trace it is because the followers are allowing Nigerians need to wake up to their right and begin to make politicians accountable and uncomfortable. They call for revolution must take place in revising the constitution and in changing the culture of the political operatives. If these two things happen, we begin to have leaders who will care about their people. It really
Literally.
sickens me. I was listening to one a message, not just a message, a couple of messages by Tafawa Balewa before independence, or within that early days of independence. He went to OAU in Addis Ababa, and when he visited America, this man was talking about the greatness of Nigeria. He was using that language. And ever since then, when I tried to listen to speeches by other Nigerian leaders and presidents, you hardly hear of any Nigerian articulating any sort of vision for greatness, any sort of vision to accomplish the aspiration of the people. Somebody will say, Pastor James, what are you talking about when you mean the aspiration of the people? Just take, for example, the Western nations. Look at their presidents, look at their leaders. Everything they do is about the good of the people. It is only in Nigeria that right now, 60-something years after independence, we don't have roads that can take you right from Lagos to Sokoto, or from east to Kaduna. There are no schools. I mean, this is not white people doing it. Even if there are white people at the top that wants to use us for their interest, if we have some consensus leaders with conviction and vision who will truly rise up, I'm telling you, it is time to shake off that colonial cap and limitation and truly build our own land. I'm sure you've seen this video by a guy in Dubai who was mocking Nigeria. He said Nigeria has everything, but Dubai is a landlocked nation. He said what we lack is leaders with vision. Look at Singapore. Look at Malaysia. Look at Japan. If they can accomplish what they to this point, if we truly begin to elect leaders with vision, leaders who care about the people, who can harness the human resources, the natural resources of Nigeria, I'm telling you, there is no stopping Nigerians. And there is no stopping Africa. Nigeria as an entity. Dr. Gago, go ahead.
No, there isn't at all. But I still hold on to my point that I'm not looking to the previous generation to solve this problem.
No, this generation has to rise. That's why we're calling for mobilization.
And we have to create this revolution to start electing government that makes sense for us. Because the only unity point for us is to become the greatest black nation in the world. You bring up Dubai. Dubai does not even have a fraction of the oil we have. Look at what they were able to do with the amount they had. Our own, we still don't have consistent electricity. We don't. And so the problem is, unless we turn this system upside down and start Nigeria afresh, there's no other way.
We must that governing system. That governing instrument. It has to change. Now, one of the things that is really bothering me when it also comes to Nigeria right now, and this is one of the reasons why I really desire to see a change, is the management of the financial resources.
Yeah.
You go to NNPC, they have all the say. You go to customs, all the money they make, different entities, the government finances are not well accounted for. No, if you do that here, I mean, you will be going to jail for a very long time. The reason why those resources are not being harnessed properly for the betterment of all Nigerians still boils down to revising that instrument in accountability. If you will ask me, Pastor James, what would be some of the changes you want to see now? At the state and local levels, I want to see elected officers as Attorney Generals and Controller General. You say, Pastor James, what difference would that make? Because right now, the governor and the local government chairman, they are work contract. They are totally in control of the budget. And as such, they can do everything. When these two positions become elected positions, you know what they want to do. Can you imagine here? say for example, there are two different parties. If the governor or the county people are not doing what they're supposed to do with the resources, you know who will be speaking out. So the financial resources of Nigeria, the control of it, the management of it need to be redefined so that once a contract is awarded, the president don't have to know how the payment is made. No, he may award it, like here. The payment of it depends on orders. In contract management, there's something called benchmark. You don't just award the contract, then you give out the whole money just like that. I'm sure everybody saw the recent collapse of the building in Lagos. It doesn't happen here because there are people who are monitoring the construction of a building here. Before they even give you a permit to proceed to the next level, you will sweat it out. You will have to meet every specification. But those accountability, they are lacking in Nigeria. Right? You can easily pay somebody off and get away with anything in Nigeria. So the changes really have to begin at the bottom for everybody's interest to be served. Dr. Gago, tell me something.
What you're talking about is checks and balances. That's why it works. And again, it goes back to what we're talking about already. We cannot have checks and balances unless we remake the country.
Because the system puts a lot of power in the hands of very few people.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just no accountability because there can't be one in this current system. This system is not about accountability. No, the colonials were not accountable to anyone. Therefore, why should the nationalists be accountable to anyone? They found out that if you're not accountable to anyone, you can do whatever you want to with the funds. So you can't tell the local government to be accountable if the president is not. And that's because everybody has to watch out for themselves. So again, it goes back to our point already. Unless we have a revolution and change it.
No change.
It's a joke.
So
I mean, you have people at the local government that are still collecting checks for the last 20 years and have never been to work.
That is part of it. There are just a lot of things in Nigeria when you hear it doesn't make sense. For example, was it last year or earlier this year or sometimes ago? You had people working at National Assembly. They were protesting that for 9 months they've not been paid. How in what kind of a country does something like that happen? Work 9 months haven't been paid, and your bosses at the top, they are doling out money, and they themselves they are earning, and you don't get what kind of a country is this? And like I always this is black people, fellow Nigerians, doing it to fellow Nigerians. The people have to get to the point of taking things into their hand and truly demand for change. The revolution, Nigeria is ready for that kind of revolution that will rewrite the governing instrument of that nation in order for us to be on the right path.
Yeah, that's it.
So as we go forward, I want us to particularly as we round up now, Dr. Gago, let's address again young Nigerians and Nigerians in diaspora. It is the way it is right. It is a latent resources, a dormant resource or energy. If Nigerians in diaspora would begin to mobilize, now here is where I'm going to. The reason, Dr. Gago, why Israel is what Israel is today is because of the Israelites or the Jews in America and in overseas. They are the ones speaking for Israel, and that is why no matter the agitation from some quarters, for example, the United States government will keep on supporting Israel, not just morally and politically, but financially and militarily. Because Israel have citizens here who are speaking to the interest of Israel. Nigerians in diaspora, the time has come for us not just continue to talk, but to mobilize and coordinate our intellect, our financial resources to sponsor those at home in order for them to do the legwork. We need to use our capacity to mobilize and educate them and let them do the homework. That is the path to change. It is not sufficient for us to just end right now and take care of ourselves, our immediate families, and benefit those we know at home. The time for that is past. We now have to begin to think about how to mobilize and give back to the land of our birth, so that the aspirations of our people, not everybody's going to be able to leave Nigeria. Not everybody we are going to be able to bring everybody out of Nigeria. So it calls on us, those in diaspora, to be engaged. Whether you're a pastor or not, whether you're a Christian or not, there is a call on us to return to Nigeria and be a part of reshaping Nigeria. Dr. Gago?
Yeah. So, when it comes to diaspora, I kind of honestly, to be honest with you, don't blame the fact that they've not been supporting, and it's because there isn't an identifiable organization that looks like it's going to work.
We want to cause that change.
Exactly. Unless there is an organization that rises. I mean, for example, look at Nelson Mandela. If you notice, the strategy Nelson Mandela had was, at a certain time, he left South Africa and agitated outside of South Africa. And then there was enough support when he came back. Now, one of the things too that we have to realize, Davido, the musician, actually said something in a late interview where he actually shows us the model of how this works, how now Afro beats is everywhere around the world. And what happened was, he says people in the diaspora, when they went to their clubs and all that, started walking up to the DJ, say, can you play this Afro beats? So the people in the diaspora brought attention to Afro beats, and now all of a sudden Afro beats is everywhere. How does this work? It's one thing. Nigerian government responds fastest when the attention of the international world is standing against it. When they can tell the world is watching it, they start falling into place. It's hard to allow them to do what they want to do in masquerading people if the cameras are looking at them. And so one of the things that needs to happen first, in my opinion, is that there needs to be an organization, and I personally am working on one right now, that becomes identifiable as a legitimate contender to the current African or Nigerian system. Now, that's number one. Number two, the youth in the diaspora, if you can tell, they have a vision of Nigeria that almost looks like a Disney movie. It's a fairy tale because it doesn't reflect what's really going on there. We like the idea of, I want to move back to do business. I like going back because, we can wear dashikis and wear earrings, and we can all, be all about our community and previous religions before Christianity and Islam came into being. So you find out that a lot of us have this fairy tale imagination of Africa, as if we land, tigers and lions are running around, and we're just there in our half naked, appreciating that everything is calm and peaceful. That's not Nigeria. Nigeria right now is hectic, hellbound, and broken. And what's happening is that unless we can start painting the real problems of Nigeria and getting youths to realize that they are part of the solution, they shouldn't wait for it to be fixed before they want to join it. They should be the part of the solution. And then so with the mixture of painting the real pictures of what Africa is, and with painting the same, giving them an organization they can support, then they can financially give to it or even lend themselves as volunteers towards it. Until those two things happen, a proper caricature of Africa and also creating an organization, the diaspora won't be engaged.
That speaks for Nigeria. That speaks for the interest of the black people. Dr. Gago, this is making a wave, and we are going to keep up this and revisit some of these issues as time goes on. With regards to Nigeria, we cannot just afford to sit back. There is a call on every Nigerian in diaspora. Let's mobilize, let's give. We have the resources. A lot of Nigerians are prosperous all across the globe. So wherever you are, we need to start to mobilize. And thank God, like you just mentioned, that you are working on something. I'm also a part of an organization in Southern California here that was recently formed, the Concerned Christians for Nigeria. I'm the Secretary General for that organization, and on my part, I'm also working on a group. Hopefully, as time goes on, we'll be able to merge so that we don't splinter too much apart. You have a well-organized machinery organization that will truly be able to stand the test of time and speak for Nigeria. And one of the things that I would really like to do, and if you're watching this sometimes live or now, we want to be able to bring in some Nigerians to California here and host a program for them and let them just come and speak, because I truly believe that, like you said, Dr. Gago, that international pressure, that international voice need to be amplified, because the way things are going on in Nigeria right now, the leaders just feel as if they are in their own enclave. No, Nigeria is a part of a global community that is enlightened and educated. Nigerians wants to be free. Nigerians wants to be free, just like any other country. So thank you very much, Dr. Gago.
Thank you so much for having me.
Is there any subject or issue that you want us to address and just quickly before we go?
I mean, the last statement is I am really talking to my generation here and saying that the people that are in power right now took over Nigeria in their 20s.
They fought for it. They earned it.
They fought for it.
They put their life on the line. Look at Buhari and some others.
And if we are going to take back Nigeria, we should not wait for our turn. Why? Because our turn means when we are 70 and we don't have a vision anymore. Our turn would be these people that our president right now claiming that he's in his 80s or 70s. I don't know how old he says he is. Our strength is when we are able now, in the days of your youth. This is when we have the strength to do this, to take power now, or our children will have to fight.
We want our children fighting this fight. We have to fight this fight.
My son and my daughter cannot fight my fight. This is my fight. I'm going to hand them a Nigeria that is worth living in. And if I am not able to, history books will write that their father tried. That's what it's going to say. And what that means is we cannot just fall asleep while we watch our birthright taken away. Nigeria is our birthright. It's the land of promise, and we have to take it now.
It is the land of our birth. We must rise to do something. We have to speak up. Pastors, Christians, we've prayed enough. Let's mobilize. Nigerians everywhere, let's recognize that our true enemies, in particular those of us from the south, they're not our enemy. It is the corrupt leaders from the section of the north that is perpetrating and using whatever resources
all over Nigeria to be exact,
to oppress everybody else for their own interest. Look at the other day when Buhari's son got married. They were giving out iPhones. Dr. Gago, iPhones. Who in the world does what kind of I mean, it blows my mind.
But Pastor, did you notice something at that wedding though? Did you notice that the politicians that we think did not like each other were at the wedding? Yeah. Did you notice that all the tribes were there? Did you notice how the people are divided amongst ourselves? But the politicians that are dividing us at the top, they're friends. I need us to notice that.
That is the reason you said something earlier I was going to talk about. That is the reason why we must not depend on our so-called leaders now to give us the go-ahead. Christians, don't wait on Adeboye, Oyediko, and who else out there? No, don't wait on any of these leaders, because in some way they are connected and they have interest that will not allow them to speak in the way that you as a young person will speak. Please don't depend on them. Rise up. You got to rise up. When you make a demand, they will respond because they want to protect their interest and give you way. Power has to be taken, young Nigerians and those in diaspora.
It has to be taken.
Power has to be taken. Let's go ahead and do it and save Nigeria. And save Nigeria. And live in a peaceful and a safe environment. Look at I was talking to somebody like we mentioned earlier about the security situation in Nigeria. Buhari is not stupid. They are purposely destabilizing Nigeria to divide Nigeria and accomplish what they are doing right now. So if we will come together, we will also save ourselves and save the Northerners and make Nigeria a truly great place to be.
Yeah.
Dr. Gago, it's an honor
Thank you so much for having me
today. We trust that
you'll
come back again and share a few more things and address some of the things. If you have anybody wants to contact us, please use the information. Go to our, let me put up that slide real quick. And you can reach us on Facebook and then also on Instagram. Our information are there. Contact us and we'll be available to lend our voices and whatever God has given us to be able to contribute to the greatest of Nigeria. One special call to all the youths, all those in diaspora. It is time to be engaged. God bless every one of you. Dr. Gago, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
You.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.